We're here at Fir Campground, Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest here in the great state of Washington. Let's go check out the campsites. So when you first get to the campground, you've got a fork in the road. Units 1 through 9 are that way. Units 10 through 21 are that way. We'll go check out 1 through 9 first. We've got our restroom, and here's our first bank of campsites. Some odd numerology. When you first come down this bank 1 through 9, the first one you're greeted with is campsite 7. Come this way, park here, got your picnic table, fire pit, gorgeous tree. Come back and show you the epicosity. Starting to see why this place is called Fir Campground. So picnic table, fire pit, probably put my tent right here. So I'm digging the perspectives of North Fork Noonsack River from here. And you come over here, you gotta be careful because there's no railing and you could fall. That would be very dangerous. But you got this view of the river from site 7. And you also have a pretty good shot. This side does have a railing, as you can see. Got a good shot that way. And let's walk around here. Perhaps your best shot to the right of these logs right here. Get no railing. You get the panoramic scope shots. Looking all the way at the banking, bending, corkscrewing North Fork Noonsack River. That is beautiful, my friend. And we also have this little vantage point. Now there's a little ledge here. I would not walk out there, especially if you've got young kiddos. That is hyper dangerous, but gives you yet another little beautiful vantage point of North Fork Noonsack River. Loving the green of that and the rocks across the way. This is a pretty gorgeous section. As we continue along, here's our main campground road. Here is site 6. Very interesting. You park here and you got a bridge over to your campsite. I'm digging it. Gives it a pretty rustic vibe. Over here, it's got a little running water here on the left and right. And look at this. Picnic table, got a tent pad, a nice stump for your table. There's your fire pit. And you are yet again overlooking the beautiful North Fork Noonsack River. Oh, that is beautiful. So your view from this one's a little bit more obstructed. As you can see, you've got some trees. See what the best vantage point is. Probably right here. You can see the river flowing by, a little bit of a fork. So the views from 6 are not as good as 7 just because of all these trees right here obstructing your line of sight. I like the stump. I like the picnic table. I do dig that bridge, little body of water coming through in your tent pad. I will say it looks like there's a path to your friend right there. It's obviously another site, so I wish a little bit more of a line of sight obstruction. Also would assume that this area could be pretty mosquito-y, maybe in July, so keep that in mind. Looks like you can also walk that way. That's towards 7, probably a little side path to 7. So that was 6. Again, I don't love that side path over there. Looks like there's a line of sight issue over there. The bridge is neat. So this definitely gives it that Swiss Family Robinson treehouse feel. Very rustic. Little water running through it. Ooh, I gotta stop here. Look at that tree, that trunk right across the way. I mean, this is why they call this area Fir Campground. So the forest is on point. The forest is legend. Pretty cool area. 6 was interesting. There's only I think 21 sites here, and you can tell they put a lot of love in each site. So I appreciate that. I like it when there's less sites and each one feels like meticulously crafted and carved with thought, attention, and care. That generally yields a more higher quality, satisfying camping experience. Here is 5. Park here, picnic table, fire pit on the other side of it. You are next to kind of this little creaky bog. I would be very worried about mosquitoes depending on the time of year there. Not to be negative, not to be a wet blanket, but that would be my first thought. Putting my tent straight ahead, that's the obvious spot. Ooh, you have a picnic table right there, so that's not the best lot lines. I will also point out, this is that path from 6. So 6 and 5 have a direct path. I feel like they put a lot of love and care in the way they crafted it, but I'm not in love with this design. 6, if they're at their fire pit, you got a straight shot all the way from over here, which is unnecessary. It does give you a little trail here over to 5, but if you're strangers, why do you want a trail between your sites? Again, I don't love that there's this, you know, boggy little creek going through the campground. If you come here in July, right when the mosquitoes are hatching, then that's going to be a mosquito city right there. You can see the bridge over to 6. So I would say with that picnic table right there next to us, not the biggest fan of 5. I didn't really look at the Wata, North Fork, Noonsack River. Oh, and you do have a little side trail right here. I'll give this. This is increasing the quality of site 5. Be kind to me, spider webs. So 5 is the first one that actually has like its own little direct access down to the river. And look at that. Actually, you even have beach access. So you can go down there and then you can very easily walk over there, and this is your vast beach shoreline. So that's cool. So that was 5. Again, I'm going to pan back and just show you the epicosity of this forest. I really can't see why this is called Silver Fir Campground. There's a lot of silver firs around and they're quite beautiful. One of my more favorite types of trees. Definitely biased in favor of this area. All right, let's continue along. Here is water pump. This is the group picnic shelter. This is day use. And let's go take a look. You got a non-covered picnic table, a little barbecue station, another little barbecue station, beautiful gazebo. Look at that. Pan up. I always call them gazebos. It's really just like a covered picnic shelter, but it's got the rustic log vibe, which I am digging. Great stonework. Let's walk around and take a look. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. I'm digging this. If I come in here and look at that, you got a fireplace, you got 3 picnic tables inside. Walk through. Actually, let me pull back just so you can see the ceiling. A lot of love and care went into this. Well braced too with this metal work, very nice. And then you got another picnic table over here. Got a barbecue station, another picnic table, barbecue station. There's the general parking for it. And we actually approach the shelter. There you are. There's your hearth, 3 picnic tables. Come over here and up and show you this nice handiwork. So I gotta say, this is a very high quality rustic picnic shelter. Good for day use here at Silver Fir Campground. Very nice. Here is site 4. Here's our main campground road. And park your vehicle straight ahead up against these 3 rocks. Got your tent pad, you got your picnic table, you got your fire pit. Let me pan back. This little cluster of trees is kind of interesting, given those Tim Burton, Dr. Seuss vibes. I will point out, not only do you have this barbecue station on the right, but you actually do have a proper fire just on the other side of the picnic table. So you also have, and this is probably the piece de resistance of site 4, this premium shoreline access trail. Please be kind, spider webs. I will brave this for your benefit. No spiders. And come on down here. You got this vast rocky shoreline. This is pretty cool, my friend. Very doable walk down here. I shall do it. And look at this. You are on a rocky shoreline directly from Site 4, and you are on the banks of North Fork Noonsack River. And come over here. Oh, this is gorgeous. I will point out there's a little access point from campsite 5 there, so 5 will probably be coming from that side. This is not your exclusive domain, but 4 and 5 both access this. And then pan up. And this is your shoreline, my friend. That's some ethereal, mystical fog here in Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest. But that is par for the course if you know the area. Oh, this is gorgeous, my friend. North Fork, Noonsack River. Absolutely beautiful. So we continue back, just for bearings. So this is our vast shoreline. As I gingerly traverse these rocks, you definitely have to watch your step. These are the kind of rocks where it's super easy to trip, because they're pretty thick. And here, my friend, is your little side trail back to Site 4. So 4 is great if you want to take your chairs down and hang out on the shoreline all day. The site itself is no great shakes, keeping it real. I don't love the lot lines because you got 5 to your right here. Let me show you. Here's Site 4. So I'd say negatives, you got 5 right there, as well as 6. So you're right next to your buddies here, which to me is a strike against it. You have the main campground road right here, which is suboptimal. You're parking kind of right on the edge of the campground road. And probably most importantly right there is the day use picnic site. So you might have, you know, a rowdy day use party there, hooping and a hollering, getting rowdy. You never know, please be respectful. So if you got day use people there, and you got the campground road right here, and then you got 5 right there and 6 right there. Not great privacy as far as the actual site itself, but if you're gonna be hiking all day, which is probably a smart play because there's some world-class hiking in this zone, then you're gonna be gone in the day anyway, and then you can take your chairs down to that rocky shoreline and just sit on North Fork Noonsack River shoreline. So if you just go down there and don't use your actual site much, and if you're hiking all day, then what do you really care? 4 could actually be pretty good. So I'm digging it. So here's campsite 3. Here's the campground road. That's Site 4 straight ahead. For bearings, please keep in mind, here's your Rustic picnic day use shelter. Here's the parking for the shelter. So the parking for the Rustic day use shelter, you don't have to camp to use that, is right across from 3. So that's a big strike on the privacy. Park here, you got your picnic table, massive tent pad on the left. Like you got your fire pit on the other side of the picnic table. So I will say this is what I call dirty forest. You see kind of all this underbrush. This isn't like pristine, high quality. I will also say you have your neighbor right there. You can see the picnic table, presumably too. So far I'm not in love with 3. I don't like it being right across from the picnic shelter, the day use site. And then it does look like it's got a side trail. And yes, I can see it does have a side trail that will ultimately take you. The other side of this brush is the rocky shoreline of North Fork Noonsack River. So you do have your own private side trail to the river. It's not as good of a side trail as 4 or 5. So it's a worse side trail, but it does get you there. The site itself is no great shakes. I mean, we stop here. I do love these tall old growth trees. Again, there's a reason why I call it Fir Campground. So trees are high quality, but just because of the way they crafted in here, see that sign on the other side of the road, that is day use parking for the Rustic picnic shelter. So you're right in the middle of the hustle and bustle action, just like 4. So for that reason, I probably wouldn't do 3. So here's Site 2. Again, bearings, there's our campground road, there's 3 and 4. There is the Rustic picnic shelter, day use area, that's the parking in front of it. So you could have stranger, like a big group of people hanging there that aren't even camping. That noise will carry over here to 2. Here's the end of the line for this fork of the campground, 1 through 9. Here's your tent pad, picnic table, fire pit, and barbecue station. Fire pit's on the other side of that picnic table. So this is a low square footage site, I gotta say, and it's dirty forest, I call it. Not really a pretty section of forest, keeping it real. A lot of overgrowth and brush, and see right here, just in this area, almost look like it needs to be cleaned out. I mean, I'm glad it's there for the privacy line of sight breakage, but it's not like epic. So kind of a dirty section of forest, low square footage. This is your domain. So if you come down here, see, now we have a straight shot to our friend 3. So 3 is right there. As far as line of sight, not great. Here's your tent pad. Again, picnic table, fire pit, barbecue station. Very low square footage, not a fan. A lot of underbrush, kind of what I call dirty forest. Not very pretty. It does look like you have a side trail, see straight ahead, that will take you to the rocky shoreline. So you do have your own private side trail to the general community North Fork Noonsack River shoreline, which is a vast shoreline, so that's good. But the site itself is no great shakes, keeping it real. You walk back over here. Remember, that's the end of this fork of the campground. Remember right there, that is your day use area. That's your rustic picnic shelter zone. Here's your main campground 4 and 3. So looking back, it's very low square footage. You see what I'm saying about kind of the dirty forest? It's just kind of like brush, stuff that, you know, in theory could be cleared out, except it would, you know, further harm your privacy lot lines. So let me pan back here to show you the trees. Trees are nice. And again, you do have your own little side path down to the shoreline of North Fork Noonsack River. But all that said, I'm not a super fan of site 2. Keeping it real. So here's your restroom for 1 through 9. It's kind of down here at the end. There's the rustic shelter. Over there's 2. So 2 does have one of the more premium locations vis-a-vis a short walk to the restroom. So here is site 1. It's on the end of this fork of the campground 1 through 9, near the turnabout to turn around. So down there is 2 and 3 for bearings. Massive driveway, like massive driveway. You can get a couple RVs back here. I mean, this is crazy how big this driveway is. Good privacy. Let me stop here and just show you this tree. That is gorgeous. Kind of frames the whole site, so that's worth noting. So incredible parking. You got your tent pad on the left, tent pad on the right. Clearly it's a double. 2 picnic tables, fire pit, barbecue station. So 1 is like built out legit. 1 actually might be my favorite so far, although it's a double. It's gonna be more expensive, but I think it's worth it for this quality. And look at this. You've got your own little shoreline access down to the vast rocky North Fork Noonsack River shoreline. Walk through here, please. Spider webs. No spider webs, yes. All right, keep walking. And look at this. Pretty darn epic. This is your shoreline. If you're staying at site 1, and look at the glisten on North Fork Noonsack River. We pan back here and just show you the sun, give you a better sense of this area. Oh, this is beautiful. So this is your shoreline. And then if you walk around here, just for bearings, you see around this rocky shoreline to the left, that's the section that like 2, 3, 4, 5 access. So 2, 3, 4, 5 campers will be around there to the left. But this side is kind of more the domain of site 1. I would probably stay on this side of it around the corner so you got more privacy. You got this fork in North Fork Noonsack River kind of developing over there. You can see you've got the bridge straight ahead. That is the main highway. So you will see some cars going by there, just as a FYI. Not a deal breaker though, because this is a gorgeous section of the river that is your domain. The world is your oyster, my friend. So I'm digging it. Look at that ethereal fog up there in higher in the forest. Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest is epic. Always giving you that mystical ethereal vibe, which I am digging. So I really like this one. 1 is definitely the best in 1 through 9, in my humble opinion. I find this to be very beautiful. It is a double, so it's gonna be more expensive. but you get this whole shoreline. You do have the highway right there, but it's not a deal breaker. And let's walk back to the site. Remember, you have 2 tent pads, 2 picnic tables, barbecue station, fire pit, massive parking area. You're right at the end of this side, so there's nobody up against you. So yeah, I am digging this. This is nice. Look how big the parking is. Just for bearings, you see straight ahead, that is the turnabout for this half of the fork of the whole campground. So 2 looks like it's straight ahead through all this brush, but you really can't see it. I can make out the picnic table, but you have a sense of privacy. So if you value privacy and if you value your own shoreline access straight ahead, you're willing to pay a little bit more, I think site 1 is really high quality. This is a great group site, or double site I should call it, not group, but kind of same thing. I'm impressed. Site 1, best one on this half, no doubt in my mind. Okay, so we're leaving the right fork of Silver Fir Campground. The campground sign says sites 1 through 9. I only saw 1 through 7. I didn't see 8 or 9, but I'm noticing that's a consistent theme here in the great state of Washington. I went over and did Colonial Creek north and south at North Cascades National Park, and a lot of the campsites did not exist. So see what I'm saying? 1 through 9, it's really just 1 through 7. I didn't see 8 or 9. I don't think they exist. So 10 through 21 is this way. You got your water pump. This for bearings. Here's our main entrance to the campground. Now we are going towards 10 through 21. Got kind of this central access point. So we are entering the left fork of Silver Fir Campground, and this is 10 through 21. Here is site 11, because who needs 10? 8 and 9 weren't in existence on the other side. Maybe 10's not in existence on this side. We shall see. But this is site 11. Nice long driveway, good shade. Picnic table, fire pit on the left. Not seeing a tent pad. It's okay, you don't need a tent pad necessarily. So site 11 does have some good views of North Fork Noonsack River. The access on this side isn't as great. What I call dirty forest, like underbrush in between you, breaking your line of sight. I do like this stump. Serves as kind of a base camp table. I like that the fire pit is situated against the river, so you can set your chairs there and just kind of look at the river. You do have little side trail access. It's not a perfect side trail. It requires a steep little drop-off climb, but most able-bodied adults ought to be able to do it. I'd be careful with the kiddos. So you got to climb over those rocks, go down there, and you do have a little shoreline. So very doable for most people, which is nice, but not as good of a access point as some of the ones on the other wing 1 through 9 had. So I will point out, if you're hanging out your fire pit, you do have a little picnic table you can see there through the trees. So that's a little suboptimal, and something else over there too. So lot lines to your left are not great here at 11, but maybe that's worth the trade-off to have your own little shoreline access to North Fork Noonsack River. Good shade overall. Interesting. Let's continue along. Okay, so here's 12. Here's our main campground road. I will stop and just show you the epicosity of this tree. Oh, it's amazing. So you park here on the right. I'm already noticing that I see 13 next to us. I don't think the lot lines between the two are going to be good. I call this double wishbone campsites, which is not a good thing. So you park here, you got your picnic table, your fire pit on the left. Kind of a weird vibe. It feels like it should be big and spacious, but it kind of feels a little claustrophobic as far as usable square footage. Here on the right, you've got the only place you could put your tent, which is where I'm standing now. You got a little trail over to 11, and you can see 11's picnic table on the right. And then if I come over here, you can see their fire pit. So that's kind of encroaching on 11. And then come over here, you can see 13 straight ahead. So they did not do a good job breaking up the line of sight. I mean, it's a direct money shot. So 12 and 13 are not well spaced between each other. That's why I call them double wishbone campsites. Suboptimal. You could literally sit at your picnic table and play catch with somebody sitting at their picnic table, and that is not a good thing. You've got your fire pit also towards 13, only exacerbating the issue, because now if you're hanging out your fire pit, you're just getting closer and closer to 13. So it's a little awkward. You got people sitting there, and then their fire pit's closer to you on the right there. See of their picnic table. So not really digging 12 or 13. as a group. Again, I'll look back and check out the monstrosity of this tree. It's pretty epic. I mean, the trees are legend. Let me check out the shoreline access. Is this a joint shoreline access for 12 and 13? Kind of looks like it from this vantage point. Yeah, so you come over here. This isn't really like a smooth primrose yellow brick road path, but it works. Okay, yeah, so you have to climb down this kind of sketchy, dirty little section of forest. It's doable. Most able-bodied adults ought to be able to do it, but it's really not like as good of a shoreline access as you have over on the other side, 1 through 9, keeping it real. So here's your view of North Fork Noonsack River from between 12 and 13. Again, what I would call like a dirty forest feel. You do have what looks like the ability to get down there, but you're kind of climbing through a underbrush section. That's definitely not a primrose path, yellow brick road side trail like some of the ones over 1 through 9 had, where it was just easy breezy walking right to the shoreline. So I also think this is a joint access point for 12 on my left and 13 on my right. So let's walk around and do 13 from the driveway to give 13 a fair shake. But I am not digging 12, 13. I almost never want to be in one of these wishbone situations. To me, it's a group play. If you have a big party and you can snag 12 and 13, then you've nullified that being an issue, and that could be fun because now it's convenient that they're next to each other. But if you're two single party families, I wouldn't want to be in 12 or 13. So here's 13. Here's your main driveway. Picnic table, fire pit on the right. Again, hello, 12. You're right there. No line of sight breakage. Deal breaker for me. Okay, so it looks like this one does have its own path. Pretty much have to put your tent here on the left. It's the only flat place you could. And then here's your access. So 13 does have its own access. So that's correction from 12. Come over here. And yeah, you can get down there, but you got to climb over some rocks and a log. And unfortunately, you're right in the water at the bottom of that. You can also go that way again. So neither one of these access points are stellar. You have to go over mossy rocks, and then you're right in the water at the bottom. You got to walk through the water. If you want to get to that little rocky bank in between the little sections, the forks of North Fork Noonsack River, you have to wade through the water to get over there. So it makes it harder to like stick some chairs over there. This is kind of dirty river shoreline with the forest. This is not the smooth experience that you may want up against a river. So I don't know. 12 and 13, I'm not feeling. For me, just this dynamic of the privacy is enough for me not to want to sit either one of them. Here is 14, otherwise known as 14. Park here on the right. You don't have a long driveway, it's just a shoulder. You got your picnic table on the left, fire pit on the right. Again, that kind of dirty forest feel. I'm not talking about the disheveledness. They'll clean that up before they open the season. That's fine, but just the general sense, like look straight ahead. This is like an underbrush section. They're kind of caught in no man's land because they don't want to clear it out because that breaks up your line of sight, but it's just not pretty to look at. So it's kind of a campground management conundrum. And look at this. This is dirty forest. You do have 12 and 13 over there. I'm glad there's the line of sight breakage, but it's not a very pretty breakage. Looks like this does ultimately give you a meandering trail down to that same area that 13 accessed it. So yeah, 14 to me is not where dreams are made. This is, serviceable base camp. Let me talk about that a little bit. So this zone has got easily 6, 8, maybe 10 world-class hikes. So a lot of this has to do with what are you looking for if you come stay at Silver for a campground. If you're just looking for a base camp because you're going to be hiking all day anyway, kind of 3 squares in the cot mentality, then all of these are serviceable. I mean, this is a nice campground overall. If you're looking for like destination camping and you're actually going to spend a significant amount of your time at the campsite, that's more what I'm talking about, being a little bit more picky as far as the quality of the campsites. So in that case, a lot of these are not good as destination campsites, but they're all serviceable as base campsites to go hiking. Here's 15, nice big driveway. Let me pan back, look at those trees. So there's an epicosity component Some people call that feng shui. I'll go with that. You walk into a campsite, you just feel good. And just as I'm saying that, look at this picnic table right here on the left. So not optimal. The spacing is not great. I'm gonna come around here. It's like a natural walking path. And so here's your picnic table, and see, there's your friend right there. Again, I'm gonna pan back just because the trees are distractingly awesome. The trees are cool. It's the reason why they call it Silver Fir Campground. And there's good shade. Here's your picnic table, here's your fire pit. Shade's on point. Even at your fire pit, you see there's another picnic table straight ahead. So this is not ideally positioned campsites as far as like a destination campsite. Okay, so this kind of gives you a vantage point of the issues with the site. You see there's a picnic table right here on the left on the other side of that tree. There's a picnic table on the right next to the two giant trees. Here's your fire pit and your picnic table. So you don't ever really achieve the privacy lot lines if you're looking for a destination campsite. Good shade, great parking. Those are in the plus column. Let me turn around here. See, this is all dirty forest. This is inaccessible as far as North Fork Noonsack River. Come over here to see if there even is an access point, or maybe there's not. So this is like a little trail, but this is getting weird because you got a campsite there, campsite there. It kind of feels like a trail, but see, you don't want to try to access it right there. It's literally impossible, and that looks dangerous AF. So you're not going to access it from that side. Coming over here, yeah, I'm not even seeing an access point. Maybe you can climb down there, but that's not optimal. So this little bank doesn't really have good access, this 3-pack, triple wishbone camping section. So this is 15, not super blown away by it. Probably the most impressive thing as I come over here is these awesome trees. The trees, the shade are legend. That's kind of the most exciting thing going for site 15. Continue along. You already heard what I was saying about base camp versus destination campsite. If you're looking for a base camp, it's great. If you're looking for a destination site, I don't think 15 is where dreams are made. I think it's going to be true of these next two as well. Here's 16, parking right here. Remember, you have 15 right there. Hey, 15, ran out of marshmallows. Can I borrow some? So here's 16, great shade, beautiful section of forest. Let me pan up here just to give you a sense of the trees. A lot of times the epicosity is lost if I don't pan up. I don't like that if I'm sitting at the picnic table right here, I am staring at another picnic table. Hello there, I've been watching you. I don't like that at all. Like, that's creepy to me. So that's a deal breaker. And again, turn around. Oh, the watcher becomes the watched. 15 is staring at you. You are staring at presumably 17. Good staring contest area, but beyond that, I wouldn't do that one. I will also say you don't really have shoreline access down to North Fork Noonsack River that's high quality. Yeah, you can probably climb down there bushwhack style, but there's not like a yellow brick road, primrose path right down to the shoreline as you would hope or expect. Because you're looking at a map, you're like, that's right on the river. It's got to be river access. I'm not seeing high quality river access on these, so that's a miss. Really, your best strength of this one is the shade. Not good privacy lines, not a destination campsite, really just a base camp. Let's continue along. That was 16. There's only 21 here, so we are almost done, my friend. You can see we're at the loop that turns around. Here's 17. Park here. Pardon the dishevelness, they haven't cleared it out for the year, so that's not their fault. I will stop here. Now this is, again, one of these epic tree situations. Look at that. Like, the trees are really the most exciting part of Silver Fir Campground. Bless the way they've cut it. So you park up to this tree and this rock. Again, I'm not a fan of this triple wishbone. You got 16 right there. And then here's your picnic table. I will compliment them. They did put the fire pit on the riverside, so you can sit at the fire and look at the river. That looks pretty. This one at least looks like it has its own access down to the river, so that's good. So 17 is the best out of this 3-pack. So you can go down there. You could wade across that little part of the fork of the river, and then you're walking on the rocks over there and up to the main flow of the river. So that's good. I don't know where this goes, if this is a side trail to the next one. Looks like that could be a side trail to the next site. Again, see, this got that dirty forest feel. Like, looking down, like, it's just not pristine. It's not pretty. You know, there's a lot of other campgrounds here in Washington that have like perfect river shoreline experiences that feel they've been manicured. This is not one of those. Really, my favorite part so far is these epic trees. We pan back up one more time. Like, the shade is legit. That's really the best thing going for it. Silver Fir Campground is aptly named. The silver firs are really the best part of this place. You know, you look at maps and you see it's right up against North Fork Noonsack River. You get a sense that it's going to be awesome right up against the river, but it really doesn't feel like it's fully leveraging its access next to the river. I don't know if that's just because it's a kind of weird meandering section of North Fork Noonsack River. I feel like Site 1 probably utilized the river shoreline the best. Of course, it's a double, it's more expensive, but I think it's worth it. It's also at the edge of the campground for privacy. So here is Site 18. Nice long driveway. I like that there's a little bit of walk to it, so that gives me hope there's better privacy. So now this is starting to feel good. I feel like we're getting to the good side of this half of the campground. Picnic table, fire pit. We pan back. So this is gorgeous. As far as our lot lines, you can see a picnic table right there straight ahead, but that's pretty good obstruction as far as your forest between you. That's not an issue in my humble opinion. So again, picnic table, fire pit. I like the fire pit is oriented towards the river. Also, feels like a cleaner section of the river. See, like right here, you have unobstructed view of the river. It's not just that kind of disheveled, overgrown feel. And you do have a little side trail down, so this is nice. Come down here. Be kind to me, spider webs. I will brave it because this seems like one of the better sites. And here we are, down the shoreline. So let me show you. Oh man, yeah, this is pretty. This is one of the better sections. I mean, I think on a hot summer day, it'd be kind of fun, frankly, to walk or swim across over to that middle section. Of course, practice situation awareness, do so at your own risk. You can walk down the shoreline that way and kind of get more of a sense of the awesomeness of North Fork Noonsack River. Go back up this thing. So I'm digging this one. This is 18. This is one of the better ones here. Again, not an issue with the privacy lines over there. You do have a straight shot of your friend there, but it's pretty far away. Let me come over here and look at it from the fire pit point of view. Yeah, it's pretty obstructed, so that's not an issue. So your privacy lines are pretty good from 18, I gotta say. So 18's legit. I mean, if you're sitting here, you can see theirs, but that's not nearly as bad as some of the other ones. It's not like 12 and 13. You're playing catch from your picnic tables. So turn back around here. I gotta say, I think 18 is actually one of the best ones. I'm keeping a running tally as I go. I think 1, 7, and 18 are probably the three best so far. I've only got a few left. There's 21 here, so we're on to 19. So I'll stop and look back at 18 one more time. 18's high quality. I gotta say, I was impressed by 18. So it's good to see there's a few that are decent. That's a pretty standard ratio for the way I at least analyze them. Here's 19, nice long driveway. Here we're starting to have our loop to the end of the line as far as the campground. So now 19 is looking pretty good. Nice long driveway, clean section of North Fork Noonsack River, nice rocky shoreline down there. Let me stop here and just give you a sense of these trees. These trees are epic. Silver Fir Campground, aptly named, and it gives you good shade. So that's nice. I'll come over here first. I think you would probably put your tent straight ahead here. Again, 18's over there, so you do have the picnic table right there. That's not bad though. I can live with that. There's a side trail to it. I can live with that. Especially if you put your tent here, you might be able to hear them better, but it breaks up the line of sight. And then over here, picnic table, fire pit, nice stump, and really beautiful section of the river. So digging that. See right there, that's gorgeous. I will say it doesn't look like you have a side trail. You see that? That's a steep drop off. I would not try to climb down that. That's dangerous. Like, you could really hurt yourself. That could be a real injury. Coming over here, yeah, you got to be real careful because there's a temptation to want to climb down that. I would not do it, my friend. That's an injury right there. Ooh, let me show you this. Just showing these trees off. Look at that. That is gorgeous. the trees are here are next level. So I like that there's one stump, two stumps, picnic table, fire pit. Let's walk over to the fire pit. I love the way they situated the fire pit. So imagine if you put your chairs right in front of the fire pit, and you come over here and you're just sitting here enjoying North Fork, Noonsack River. That's a win. So again, if I pen down, here's our fire pit, and here is our river. The only thing I don't like about this one, 19, is there's no side trail down to the river. So for that reason, I would say 18 straight ahead right there is superior to 19. But 19's good. I would stay at 19 as well. So if you're tallying with me, 1, 7, 18, and 19 are the winner chicken dinners so far. Here's the restroom, right, between 19 and 20. It's good to know. And there's 21 here. We're coming up to 20, so these are our final two. We'll check out the quality. It's like that's 20 right there. There's a little side path. We'll come around from the parking vantage point with the brown post. So here's 20. Frame of reference, there's 21. I already don't like that the picnic table on 21 is so exposed. You're gonna hope the car is gonna block it. So 20, you park here. You are up against North Fork, Noonsack River. Carry your gear over here. So 20 is interesting. I like the way it's carved into this section of forest. Gives you optimal shade. You got great privacy lines once you're around the corner here from 21, so it's not an issue for 20 itself. You can see 19 right there straight ahead, but if you come over to the picnic table, you got perfect blockage with those trees. So they hit a home run on that. I don't love where they put the fire pit. For some reason, they put the fire pit over here. And by putting the fire pit over there, now you're staring at 19 while you're tending the fire. They should have put the fire pit over here. They should have put the fire pit in this section. And imagine if the fire pit was like right over here. Now you're staring at the river. A pretty gorgeous section of river, actually. See that little white water rapid section. So missing where they put the fire pit. I don't know if they can move that, but they should. Picnic table's cool. You have the restroom right there. You will have people come down this road doing their U-turn to get out of the campground. So let's check to see if we have our own shoreline access. I think we do. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, let me stop here and pan. So you climb down these couple little loggy steps to the shoreline, and then there you are. You are right up against maybe one of the most beautiful features of North Fork Noonsack River at this entire campground right there. You got the little mini whitewater rapid section going over the log there, kind of creating a beautiful spectacle. I am digging it. Okay, so I've come down to the shoreline of Site 20. Here's our little shoreline. I think it was well worth it because it gives you a better sense of what you're getting. You can bring your chairs down here. So this might be the view of the campground right here, the shoreline of Site 20. I'm digging this. This is really beautiful. So here's the view if you look to the left, the edge of your shoreline. Here is our little beachy section. You can see the river, and we will climb back up. You got to be careful coming down this, and not everybody will be able to do it. You got to practice safe footwork. If I come up here, yes, made it. So I feel like if they could just move this fire pit over to this side somewhere so it's overlooking the river, I think this would be a home run site. Come back around here and show you the beautiful feature of this site. I love that. And then here's your little climb down zone, your private shoreline access for Site 20. 20 is high quality. I like 20. 20 is a win. So this bank of 18, 19, 20 are very good. 20 is the best of the three. 18 is the second best. They both have a side trail. 19 is good, but it doesn't have a side trail, so it's the worst of the three. 18, 20 are far superior to 19, my humble opinion. And here's the last one, 21. I don't love that where the picnic table is located. You park right here up against these rocks. Picnic table, fire pit. Picnic table is also pretty exposed to the sun, just because of the vantage point. This is not a good site. I'll tell you that right now. You put your tent right here and then look at this. So close yet so far. There's the river, but you got dirty forest between you. You're right up against the edge of the campground. It does look like there's a little side trail, and I'm gonna take a leap of faith and assume that ultimately gets you over to the shoreline of North Fork, Noonsack River, but I really wouldn't want to carry my chairs that far. Wouldn't you rather be at 20, the one I was just at, climb down that little thing and be on the shoreline rather than having to take a trail? So you do have the restroom straight ahead right there. So I'm not a fan of 20. This is dirty forest. You're so close yet so far as the river. So 21, not great. Okay. So I just walked all 21 sites here at Fir Campground, Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest. Give you my thoughts. A lot of it has to do with your mentality. If you're looking for a base camp situation, because you're going to be doing some of the epic hikes in the area anyway, then all of these are serviceable. Any one of these is great. If you're looking for more of a destination campsite, where you're going to be spending a lot of time at the campsite, so you want to maximize, optimize your experience, that's kind of a little bit more what this type of a review is for. I would say there was 3 to 5 sites of high quality, which for this size of a campsite is actually a pretty good ratio. I will point out that 8, 9, and 10 do not exist. So even though the numerology goes to 21, it's really 18 sites. So I would say 1, 7, 18, 19, and 20 are the 5 best. I would say 7 and 19 are the worst of those. So really the 3 best are 1, 18, and 20. Now 1 is a double, so it's gonna be more expensive. It's the end of the right fork of the campground. It got huge parking, 2 picnic tables, 2 fire pits, everything right up against North Fork Noonsack River. You get your own swath of the shoreline. So that was awesome. So 1 was very high quality. If you're not too worried about the cost, 1 is probably the best way to go. As far as the single family privacy plays, single sites, I think 20 is probably number 1 and 18 is probably number 2. They both had high quality side trails down to the river. 19 was okay in the middle, but it doesn't have a side trail. So that's the reason why I barely include it. 7 was also decent, probably the second best site on the right fork of the campground, but it didn't really have access to the river, and there was some very dangerous drop-offs that if you got kiddos, I would not do 7 because that could get dangerous real quick. So those are the 5 best, really the 3 best, 1, 18, and 20. So I can't, this is the first time ever being at Fir Campground. I'm leaving a fan. I think it's got a few sites that are absolutely worth coming back to stay at. And really I'm in love with this area, Mount Baker-Snoqualmie National Forest, some world-class hikes up to the mountains that really is kind of the draw of this area. So that completes my review here at Fir Campground.